Achilles, the untold adventures before the Trojan War. Before we delve into the epic saga of Achilles, let's set the stage with a gripping introduction. Imagine a man whose very name would echo through eternity. A warrior blessed by the gods, yet bound by a mortal destiny. Achilles, son of the sea nymph Thetis and the mortal king Peleus, was destined for greatness long before the Trojan War ever erupted. In this first part of our series, we'll embark on the remarkable adventures of Achilles leading up to that legendary conflict, exploring his childhood, his training, and the pivotal moments that forged him into a living legend. But remember, the story of his role in the Trojan War itself will be told in part 2, so stay with us until the end to find out when and how that epic continuation will arrive. From the very moment of his birth, Achilles was no ordinary child. His mother, Thetis, fearing for her son's mortal vulnerability, sought to make him invincible. According to the most famous version of the myth, she dipped the infant Achilles into the river Styx, a sacred waterway in the underworld believed to grant immunity from harm. But as she held him tightly by his heel, that one small spot remained untouched by the waters, leaving a single, fatal weakness. The origin of the phrase Achilles' heel that we still use today. Other versions tell that Thetis tried to burn away his mortality by placing him in a fire or anointing him with ambrosia. Regardless of the method, one fact remains certain. Thetis did everything in her power to protect her son from the cruel fate that awaits all mortals. Achilles' upbringing was anything but typical. His father, Peleus, sent him to be raised by the wise and immortal centaur Chiron, who lived on Mount Pelion. Chiron was no ordinary mentor. He was a master of both medicine and martial arts, a teacher of heroes. Under Chiron's guidance, Achilles learned not only the arts of war, spear-throwing, swordsmanship, and horsemanship, but also music, healing, and philosophy. These formative years shaped Achilles into a well-rounded figure, not just a brute warrior, but a man of culture and intellect. He was taught to respect the gods, to understand the complexities of fate, and above all, to embrace the heroic virtues that defined Greek heroism. But even as a youth, Achilles' nature was fiery and unyielding. He displayed an insatiable hunger for glory and a relentless pursuit of excellence. One of the earliest stories of his valor involves his participation in the hunt for the Caledonian boar. This monstrous creature had been sent by the goddess Artemis to ravage the land of Caledon as punishment for being dishonored by its king. Many of Greece's greatest heroes gathered to slay the beast, and though Achilles was still a young man at the time, his prowess in battle was already undeniable. He fought alongside Meleager and other renowned warriors, cementing his reputation as a formidable force long before he ever set foot on the battlefields of Troy. As Achilles matured, his beauty and strength became legendary across Greece. His fame attracted the attention of kings and warriors, but it also drew the gaze of women. One of the most famous episodes of his youth involves his relationship with Deidamia, the daughter of King Lycomedes of Syros. But before we get to that, let's first understand why Achilles ended up on the island of Syros in the first place. Thetis, ever aware of the prophecy that her son would perish if he fought in the Trojan War, devised a plan to hide him away. She took Achilles to Syros and disguised him as a girl among the daughters of King Lycomedes, hoping that no one would ever find him there. Achilles, though reluctant, agreed to this deception to honor his mother's wishes. For some time he lived among the maidens of the court, concealing his true identity and suppressing his natural warrior instincts. It was here that he met and fell in love with Deidamia, with whom he fathered a son, Neoptolemus, who would later become a hero in his own right during the Trojan War. Yet this period of hiding was never meant to last. The fates, as they often do in Greek mythology, conspired to bring Achilles back to his destined path. The Greeks, meanwhile, were assembling their forces to wage war against Troy after the abduction of Helen by Paris. According to the prophecies, they knew that they could not hope to succeed without the might of Achilles. Thus the cunning Odysseus was dispatched to find and retrieve the young warrior. Disguised as a merchant, Odysseus arrived at Scyros with a selection of fine goods, jewelry, silks, and among them weapons. As the story goes, while the maidens eagerly examined the trinkets, Achilles instinctively reached for the sword and shield. His reaction betrayed his true identity, forcing him to reveal himself and abandon the safety of his hidden life. Though Thetis was devastated, Achilles accepted his fate. His yearning for glory outweighed the fear of death. But before he could set out for Troy, he sought new armor and weapons befitting his status. It was during this time that his mother bestowed upon him a magnificent set of armor forged by the god Hephaestus. Though some versions suggest that this legendary armor was made later, during the Trojan War itself. Regardless, Achilles' reputation as a warrior of unparalleled might was already solidified in the minds of those who heard his name. Troy, Achilles also gathered a personal army known as the Myrmidons. According to legend, these fearsome warriors were descended from ants, transformed into men by Zeus as a favor to Achilles' grandfather, Aeacus. The Myrmidons were loyal, disciplined, and utterly devoted to their leader, following him into every battle without question. Their presence would prove crucial in the battles to come, but even before the war began, their mere existence added to the aura of power surrounding Achilles. One fascinating but often overlooked chapter in Achilles' pre-Trojan adventures involves his encounter with the warrior queen Penthesilea, leader of the Amazons. While many versions place their fateful duel within the Trojan War, some ancient sources suggest that Achilles may have crossed paths with the Amazons earlier in his life during his various exploits across Greece and Asia Minor. These tales highlight not only Achilles' martial prowess but also his complex views on honor, love, and rivalry, themes that would echo throughout his later life. Another important episode is Achilles' expedition to Telephus, the king of Mysia. When the Greeks first set sail for Troy, they mistakenly landed in Mysia, believing it to be their destination. In the ensuing battle, Achilles wounded Telephus with his spear. However, the wound proved incurable by any ordinary means. Achilles, demonstrating his knowledge of both combat and medicine, agreed to heal Telephus in exchange for guidance on how to reach Troy. This episode not only emphasizes Achilles' lethal skill in battle, but also his indispensable role in the Greek expedition, even before the war officially began. As we reflect on all these episodes, it becomes clear that Achilles' life before the Trojan War was a tapestry of adventure, passion, and prophecy. From his mystical childhood in the care of Chiron to his daring exploits and romantic entanglements, Achilles embodied the ideal Greek hero long before he ever clashed swords with Hector or mourned the death of Patroclus. His legend was already well established, his reputation already awe-inspiring. Yet, the greatest chapters of his life, the battles, the betrayals, the triumphs, and the tragedies, still lay ahead. And that brings us to the conclusion of this first part of Achilles' epic saga. In our next video, we will dive headfirst into the heart of the Trojan War, exploring Achilles' legendary feats on the battlefield, his deadly rage, and ultimately his tragic downfall. You won't want to miss how this mythic warrior reshaped the fate of Troy, and how his story continues to influence literature, art, and culture to this very day. So, if you've enjoyed uncovering the lesser-known adventures of Achilles before the war, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss part 2 of this incredible series. Leave a comment below sharing your favorite part of Achilles' early life, and stay tuned as we continue to unravel the timeless legend of the greatest warrior of the ancient world.